When you are young, the greatest gift you can give yourself is the ability to discover your true potential early. Too often, people drift through life not because they lack talent, but because they never pause long enough to ask themselves who they truly are and what they are capable of becoming. Potential is not just a fancy word that sounds good in motivational speeches. It is the hidden power that lies dormant within every individual, waiting for the right circumstances, the right mindset, and the right courage to be unlocked. Every young person has seeds of greatness planted inside of them, but those seeds do not bloom on their own. They need nurturing, self-awareness, and the willingness to dig deep and push past the limits that society, family, or even one's own doubts may impose. Discovering your true potential begins with awareness. You cannot develop what you don't first recognize. Many young people look outside of themselves for validation, chasing approval, likes, and applause from others. While encouragement is valuable, it should never replace the deeper question, what was I born to do? What sparks excitement in me even when no one is watching? What challenges make me feel alive rather than defeated? These questions may not always have immediate answers, but asking them consistently is the first step toward unearthing the treasure within. Your potential is not defined by your current grades, your family background, or even your financial situation. It is defined by the unique combination of skills, interests, resilience, and creativity that only you possess. Another crucial part of discovering your potential is experimentation. Too many young people wait for the perfect path to appear before they take a step, but life does not work that way. You learn who you are by trying, failing, succeeding, and learning again. A person who never experiments never discovers what truly excites them. This is why exposure is so important. Read widely, explore different fields, try internships, volunteer, join clubs, learn new skills. Each experience becomes like a mirror reflecting back something about yourself. Even the things you don't enjoy are valuable because they narrow down the list of what you might want to pursue long term. Sometimes you only find your passion by bumping into what it is not. Potential also requires belief. You can be surrounded by opportunities, but if you do not believe you are worthy of them, you will miss them. Many young people suffer from self-doubt, comparing themselves to those who seem more talented, more confident, or more successful. But the truth is, comparison blinds you to your own uniqueness. The flower does not envy the tree, and the tree does not envy the mountain. Each has its place, its beauty, and its value. Believing in your potential does not mean arrogance. It means accepting that you were not placed on this earth by accident. You carry something inside you that the world needs, and if you let fear dictate your choices, that gift remains buried. In addition, discovering your true potential means confronting the limits of your comfort zone. Growth does not happen where you feel safe. It happens where you feel stretched. Think about how a muscle grows stronger. It requires resistance, weight, and effort. The same is true for your character and your abilities. If you only do what feels easy, you never expand into the person you could become. This is why challenges, failures, and even disappointments are not curses but blessings. Each one contains a hidden lesson, an opportunity to refine your skills, toughen your spirit, and sharpen your vision. A young person who discovers their potential early learns to set goals that align with who they are rather than what others expect of them. Too often, dreams die because they were never truly ours to begin with. They were borrowed from parents, peers, or cultural pressures. But real fulfillment comes when you pursue something that resonates deeply with your heart. That doesn't mean the journey will be easy. In fact, the path to unlocking your potential is often filled with obstacles. But when you are chasing a vision that belongs to you, the struggles become stepping stones instead of stumbling blocks. Another key part of potential is discipline. Discovering your talents is only the beginning. Developing them requires effort and consistency. Talent without discipline is like a car without fuel. It looks good, but it doesn't move. Discipline allows you to sharpen your abilities, improve your weaknesses, and keep going when motivation fades. Motivation is temporary, but discipline builds habits, and habits shape destiny. The earlier you learn this truth, the sooner you transform potential energy into real results. Your environment also plays a significant role in whether or not you discover your potential. Surrounding yourself with the right people, mentors, friends, role models, can either accelerate or slow down your growth. Negative environments drain your confidence and keep you from taking risks, while positive ones push you to rise higher. A simple way to test your circle is to ask yourself, do the people around me challenge me to be better, or do they keep me comfortable where I am? Sometimes, discovering your potential requires stepping away from voices that doubt you and leaning into those that inspire you. Equally important is the practice of self-reflection. Life moves quickly, especially for young people who are juggling studies, relationships, and responsibility. But potential is not unlocked in noise. It is discovered in quiet. Taking time to reflect, journal, or simply think allows you to connect the dots between your actions, your values, and your future. Reflection turns experiences into lessons, and lessons into wisdom. Without it, you risk moving fast but going nowhere. Finally, understanding your potential also involves service. True fulfillment does not come from success alone, but from using your gifts to impact others. When you channel your potential into something bigger than yourself, whether it's helping your community, solving problems, or inspiring others, you create a ripple effect that extends beyond your own life. Potential is never just about personal gain. It is about contribution. When young people realize this early, they stop chasing empty applause and start building meaningful legacies. So the journey of discovering your true potential early is not about reaching perfection, but about awakening to the possibilities within you. It is about asking questions, trying new things, embracing failure, believing in yourself, building discipline, surrounding yourself with the right influences, reflecting deeply, and using your gifts to serve others. Every young person is like a diamond, sometimes covered in dust, sometimes hidden underground, but always holding the capacity to shine. The earlier you begin uncovering that diamond, the sooner you can illuminate not just your path, but the paths of those who will one day look to you as proof that greatness begins with the courage to discover what lies within. The truth is that motivation will not always be there, and that is why discipline matters more if you want to succeed in life. Motivation is like a spark. It burns bright, it gets you excited, it can even get you started, but sparks die out quickly if they are not backed by something stronger. Discipline, on the other hand, is the steady flame that keeps burning even when the excitement fades. Many young people fall into the trap of waiting until they feel motivated to take action, but the reality is that if you wait for motivation, you will waste countless opportunities. Life rewards consistency, not occasional bursts of enthusiasm. Discipline ensures that you show up, do the work, and keep moving forward even when you don't feel like it. When you look at successful athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, or leaders, you'll notice that they don't rely on waking up every day with a burst of energy or inspiration. Instead, they have built systems, habits, and routines that carry them through the days when motivation is absent. For example, a writer doesn't wait until inspiration strikes before writing. They sit down at a certain time every day, whether they feel like it or not. A student who relies on motivation to study will give up when they feel tired. But a disciplined student keeps going because they have trained themselves to focus on the bigger picture. Discipline transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results. Discipline is not about being harsh with yourself. It is about teaching yourself to act in alignment with your goals, not your feelings. Feelings change constantly. You may wake up happy one morning and discouraged the next. If your actions depend solely on how you feel, your progress will always be inconsistent. Discipline acts as the anchor that holds you steady despite the waves of emotion. Think about it. A professional runner doesn't wait until they feel like running before training. They run because it is who they are, it is what their goal requires, and it is the only way they will improve. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, whether you are in the mood or not. Another important aspect of discipline is that it builds resilience. Motivation often makes us focus on the fun parts of the journey, the excitement of success, the thrill of progress. But discipline prepares us for the difficult parts. Life will test you. There will be setbacks, failures, and disappointments. When motivation fades in those moments, discipline carries you through. It gives you the ability to keep moving forward when others give up. It's like a muscle. The more you practice discipline, the stronger it becomes, and the easier it is to push through challenges. Young people who understand this truth learn that it is not talent or luck that separates the successful from the unsuccessful. It is the discipline to stay committed to their goals regardless of circumstances. Discipline also frees you from procrastination. Procrastination is the silent killer of potential. It convinces you that you'll do it tomorrow, that you'll start when the timing is right, that you'll wait until you feel ready. But tomorrow often never comes, and opportunities pass by. Discipline breaks the cycle by training you to act now, not later. It tells you that small, consistent actions today are better than big, inconsistent efforts later. Every time you choose to act despite not feeling like it, you are strengthening your ability to overcome procrastination. Over time, it becomes second nature. You stop asking yourself, "Do I feel like it?" and instead focus on, "Is this aligned with my goal?" A key benefit of discipline is that it compounds over time. Just like money in a savings account grows with compound interest, disciplined actions grow into massive results. A young person who chooses to read for 30 minutes daily may not see much difference in a week, but in a year they will have consumed knowledge that can change their life. A disciplined athlete who trains consistently may not notice dramatic progress in a month, but in a year they will outperform those who only train when they feel motivated. Discipline is not glamorous in the short term, but it produces rewards that motivation alone could never create. Discipline also gives you control over your life. When you rely on motivation, you are essentially letting your emotions and circumstances decide your actions. But when you practice discipline, you take back that power. You no longer depend on whether the day feels good or bad. You have a set of standards and you live by them. That control breeds confidence because you begin to trust yourself. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build self-respect. On the other hand, every time you break a promise to yourself, you weaken your belief in your own abilities. Discipline ensures that you keep those promises, and over time, that self-trust becomes unshakable confidence. It's important to understand that discipline is not about perfection. You will have days when you slip, when you don't meet your standards, when you fall short. But discipline is about returning to the path quickly instead of giving up entirely. Many people abandon their goals because they fail once and think it's over. Discipline teaches you that failure is not final, it's simply feedback. You acknowledge the mistake, adjust your approach, and keep moving forward. That ability to bounce back is what keeps you on the journey long enough to see real results. Building discipline requires practical steps. One of the best ways is to create habits. Habits remove the need for constant decision making. For example, if you decide that you will exercise every morning at 7 a.m., over time it becomes automatic. You no longer waste mental energy debating whether you should exercise or not. It becomes part of your routine. Similarly, setting clear goals, creating schedules, and holding yourself accountable are all tools that strengthen discipline. Start small and let your consistency grow. Discipline is not built overnight. It is developed through repeated choices day after day until it becomes part of your identity. Finally, discipline is the bridge between dreams and reality. Many young people dream big, which is beautiful, but without discipline, those dreams remain fantasies. Motivation can get you excited about the dream, but only discipline can turn it into a reality. Discipline ensures that your daily actions align with your long-term vision. It makes sure that you don't just talk about success, but actively build it step by step. And the most powerful part of all is that once discipline becomes part of who you are, you no longer need to rely on fleeting motivation. You become unstoppable because you are no longer controlled by feelings. You are guided by commitment. So, for any young person who wants to succeed in life, the lesson is clear. Do not wait for motivation to come and save you. Motivation may start the engine, but discipline keeps the car moving forward. It is the difference between quitting and continuing, between potential and achievement, between wishing and winning. Build discipline early, and you will discover that you do not need to chase success. Success will follow the steady rhythm of your consistent action. The people you choose to surround yourself with will shape your mindset, your habits, your confidence, and ultimately your destiny. When you are young, it may feel like your environment doesn't matter much, but it is one of the most powerful forces that will determine how far you go in life. Human beings are social creatures. We absorb the energy, beliefs, and behaviors of those around us, often without realizing it. If you spend time with people who are lazy, negative, or small-minded, you will gradually find yourself lowering your own standards to match theirs. But if you surround yourself with people who are ambitious, disciplined, and positive, their energy will pull you upward. Success leaves clues, and one of the clearest is this: greatness rarely happens in isolation. It is shaped by the company you keep. When you are surrounded by the wrong people, your vision shrinks. They may not discourage you openly, but their subtle comments, lack of ambition, or constant complaining can plant seeds of doubt in your mind. For instance, if you tell your friends that you want to start a business and they laugh at you or call it unrealistic, that negativity can slowly erode your confidence. Over time, you begin to believe that your dreams are too big or impossible. On the other hand, when you are around people who dream bigger than you, who push boundaries, who see challenges as opportunities, you start to think differently. Suddenly, your goals feel not only possible, but necessary. That is the power of environment. It either fuels your growth or stifles it. Another reason why your circle matters is accountability. When you are with people who take life seriously, they hold you accountable for your action. They won't let you slack off, make excuses, or settle for less than your best. They will remind you of your goals when you are tempted to quit. Accountability is uncomfortable at times, but it is one of the greatest gifts you can receive because it forces you to stay consistent. Without accountability, it is easy to drift, procrastinate, or give up when life gets hard. With it, you stay on track even when you don't feel like it. Surrounding yourself with the right people also accelerates your learning. Think of it this way: if you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. Growth happens when you are around those who know more than you, who have walked the path you aspire to walk, and who can share wisdom that saves you from years of trial and error. A young person who spends time with mentors, coaches, or peers who are already successful gains an unfair advantage. They gain insights, strategies, and lessons that books or theories alone cannot teach. This exposure expands your perspective and equips you with tools to move faster toward your goals. There is also the element of energy. People carry energy that either uplifts or drains you. Some people bring light, positivity, and encouragement wherever they go. Others bring negativity, gossip, and drama. Pay attention to how you feel after spending time with someone. Do you feel inspired, motivated, and capable of more? Or do you feel drained, discouraged, and doubtful? The answer to that question reveals whether that person belongs in your inner circle. Protecting your energy is not selfish, it is essential. The wrong energy can sabotage your growth, while the right energy can fuel breakthroughs. At the same time, surrounding yourself with the right people doesn't mean you cut off everyone who isn't successful yet. Success is not just about money or achievements. It is also about character. Look for people with integrity, kindness, resilience, and a hunger to grow. Sometimes the best people to be around are not those who have already made it, but those who are striving, learning, and fighting for a better future, just like you. These are the people who will understand your struggles and encourage you when the road feels tough. They may not have all the answers, but they share the same fire, and that shared energy can keep you moving. It is also important to realize that not everyone in your life is meant to stay forever. Some friendships and relationships are seasonal. They serve a purpose in one chapter of your life, but may not align with the direction you are heading. As painful as it can be, growth often requires letting go. If someone consistently brings negativity, holds you back, or refuses to grow, you cannot afford to let them anchor you. This doesn't mean you stop caring about them. It means you care about your future enough to prioritize it. Elevation requires separation. If you want to rise higher, you cannot carry everyone with you. On the other side of this, remember that you must also be the right person for others. Surrounding yourself with greatness is not just about taking, it is about contributing. Ask yourself, what energy do I bring to my circle? Do I encourage, uplift, and inspire others, or do I drag them down? The relationships that matter most are those where everyone grows together. Be the kind of person others want in their circle. Reliable, disciplined, supportive, and positive. When you contribute that kind of energy, you naturally attract people who live at the same standard. Young people often underestimate how much influence their environment has on their future. A single friend group can determine whether you end up wasting your years in distraction or building a foundation for success. That is why choosing your circle wisely is one of the most important decisions you will ever make. You cannot control the family you were born into, but you can control the friends, mentors, and peers you allow into your inner world. Each choice either pushes you closer to your dreams or pulls you further away. Surrounding yourself with the right people also builds courage. When you are alone in chasing your dreams, it is easy to feel overwhelmed or afraid. But when you are with others who are also pursuing big goals, you realize you are not alone. Their courage fuels yours. Their stories remind you that setbacks are normal, that doubts are temporary, and that persistence pays off. This collective belief strengthens your resolve. It gives you the courage to take risks, to fail, and to keep going until you succeed. Ultimately, life is too short to spend it with people who do not inspire you. Your environment is not neutral. It is either helping you rise or keeping you stuck. Choose wisely. Seek out those who lift you higher, who challenge you to grow. who see your potential even when you don't, and who celebrate your victories without jealousy. Surround yourself with mentors who have walked the road you want to travel, peers who push you to compete with your best self, and friends who remind you why you started. When your environment is aligned with your vision, your potential becomes unstoppable. So the lesson is simple but powerful. If you want to succeed, choose your circle carefully. Don't waste time in places where your dreams are ridiculed or your growth is stifled. Invest your energy where you are supported, challenged, and inspired. As the saying goes, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Make sure the people you surround yourself with reflect the future you want, not the past you are trying to escape. Failure is one of the most misunderstood experiences in life, especially for young people who are often taught to avoid mistakes at all costs. From school exams to social pressures, society conditions us to believe that failure is something to be ashamed of, something that defines us negatively, and something that must be hidden or ignored. But in truth, failure is one of the greatest teachers you will ever have. Every person who has achieved anything remarkable in life has faced failure, sometimes repeatedly, and used it as a stepping stone toward success. If you can learn to embrace failure, to see it not as a dead end but as valuable feedback, you will unlock a level of growth and resilience that very few people ever reach. When you fail, it hurts. There is no denying the sting of disappointment, the embarrassment of not meeting expectations, or the frustration of falling short after working hard. But that pain is not meaningless. It carries information. It shows you what didn't work, what skills you still need to develop, what strategies must be adjusted, and where your weaknesses lie. Without failure, you would never know these things. Imagine trying to learn to ride a bicycle without ever wobbling or falling. You wouldn't develop balance. In the same way, failure is the process that refines you, that teaches you balance in life, and that builds the strength to keep going. Young people who run away from failure often end up living safe but unfulfilled lives. They play small, choosing only the paths that guarantee success, and as a result, they never stretch themselves, never test their potential, and never discover how capable they truly are. Playing it safe may protect you from the sting of failure, but it also robs you of the thrill of achievement. The truth is, the bigger the dream, the greater the risk of failure. But instead of seeing risk as something to fear, see it as evidence that you are aiming high enough. If you never fail, it might be a sign that you are not challenging yourself. Embracing failure also helps you develop resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back, to recover quickly, and to keep moving forward despite obstacles. Life is unpredictable, and no matter how well you plan, things will not always go as expected. Failure builds resilience by teaching you how to adapt and adjust. Each time you fail and rise again, you become stronger. You prove to yourself that setbacks are not the end, but simply part of the journey. This resilience becomes one of your greatest advantages because while others quit after facing difficulty, you continue to persist, and persistence is often what separates success from mediocrity. It is also important to understand that failure shapes character. When everything goes right, it is easy to feel confident and capable. But when you fail, you are forced to confront your limitations, your patience, and your determination. Failure humbles you, teaching you not to take success for granted. It builds empathy because you understand struggle firsthand. It sharpens your focus because it makes you reevaluate what truly matters. Many of the most grounded and impactful leaders are not those who succeeded easily, but those who failed many times and allowed those failures to shape their wisdom and compassion. Failure also eliminates illusions. Sometimes we carry assumptions or beliefs that are not true. We may think we are more prepared than we really are, or that a certain path is right for us. Failure strips away those illusions. It shows us reality. For example, if you fail at a business venture, you may realize that you need more knowledge about finance or marketing, or that your true passion lies elsewhere. If you fail an exam, you may learn that your study methods need improvement, or that you must manage your time differently. These lessons are not punishments, they are directions pointing you toward growth. Without failure, you might continue down the wrong path for years, never realizing that you needed to change course. One of the greatest benefits of embracing failure is that it reduces fear. Fear of failure is often worse than failure itself. Many young people never even start because they are so afraid of failing in front of others. But once you fail and survive, you realize it's not the end of the world. You learn that people move on quickly, that your identity is not tied to one mistake, and that failure does not define you unless you allow it to. This realization gives you courage. You stop worrying so much about how others perceive you and start focusing on what you can learn and how you can grow. With each failure, fear loses its power over you. At the same time, you must approach failure with the right mindset. Failure only becomes valuable when you learn from it. Some people fail and allow it to make them bitter, resentful, or hopeless. They see failure as proof that they are not good enough and they quit. But successful people fail and then reflect. They ask questions: what went wrong? What can I do differently next time? What strengths did this failure reveal in me? What weaknesses must I work on? By turning failure into a lesson, they ensure that each setback moves them closer to success rather than further away. There are countless stories of people who turned failure into greatness. Thomas Edison famously said that he did not fail thousands of times when inventing the light bulb. He simply discovered thousands of ways that did not work. Each failure brought him closer to the solution. J.K. Rowling faced rejection after rejection before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. Michael Jordan, considered one of the greatest basketball players in history, was once cut from his high school team. What made them great was not the absence of failure, but the refusal to be defined by it. They embraced it, learned from it, and used it as fuel. As a young person, you should remind yourself that failure is not permanent. It is a temporary state, not a lifelong label. No failure has the power to stop you unless you give it that power. Each failure you experience adds to your wisdom and makes your eventual success even more meaningful. In fact, the deeper your failures, the more powerful your story of success becomes. People admire resilience, not perfection. Your ability to fall and rise again will inspire others more than any flawless victory ever could. Ultimately, embracing failure as a teacher means shifting your perspective. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" ask, "What will I learn if I fail?" Instead of fearing mistakes, welcome them as opportunities to grow. Instead of hiding from failure, face it with courage, knowing it is shaping you into a stronger, wiser, and more capable version of yourself. If you make failure your friend rather than your enemy, you will live boldly, take risks, and pursue dreams that others only imagine. So the lesson for every young person is simple: do not run from failure, run toward it. Try things, risk mistakes, fall down, and then rise again. Every failure is preparing you for something greater. Life is not about avoiding failure. It is about using it to build the strength, wisdom, and resilience that success requires. If you embrace failure as your teacher, you will discover that it is not an obstacle on your path to success. It is the path itself. Consistency and patience are two of the most powerful forces in life. Yet they are often underestimated by young people who want everything quickly. In today's world of instant gratification, where information, entertainment, and even recognition can be accessed in seconds, it is easy to believe that success should come overnight. But real success, the kind that lasts, the kind that transforms lives, does not come from sudden bursts of effort or fleeting motivation. It comes from showing up every single day, doing the work repeatedly, and waiting long enough for the results to unfold. Consistency builds habits, and patience ensures that those habits have time to bear fruit. Together, they form the foundation of any meaningful achievement. Consistency is what turns small actions into massive results. Think of a drop of water falling on a stone. One drop alone makes no difference, but thousands of drops over time can carve a hole into the stone. That is the power of consistency. It compounds. A student who studies for 30 minutes every day will outperform the student who studies for 5 hours once a week. An athlete who trains daily will achieve greater strength and endurance than the one who trains only when they feel like it. Consistency creates momentum, and once momentum is built, progress becomes almost unstoppable. It may not be glamorous, and it may not give instant results, but it guarantees growth. Patience, on the other hand, is what keeps you steady when results do not show up right away. The truth is that growth is often invisible in the beginning. Seeds planted underground do not sprout immediately. The farmer does not dig up the soil every day to see if something is happening. He trusts the process, continues watering, and waits until the harvest season. Life works the same way. You may not see the results of your efforts instantly, but that doesn't mean nothing is happening. Patience allows you to keep going even when you cannot yet see the reward. Without patience, most people give up too early, abandoning their efforts just before the breakthrough. For young people, this lesson is crucial because the world often sells the illusion of shortcuts. Social media highlights overnight successes, viral moments, and quick fame, making it seem like success happens in an instant. But what is hidden from view is the years of unseen work, the countless failures, and the endless practice behind those moments. Every so-called overnight success is built on a foundation of consistency and patience. The musician who suddenly goes viral has likely been practicing for years. The entrepreneur who seems to appear out of nowhere has probably failed in multiple ventures before finding the right formula. If you want true success, you must train yourself to focus on the long game, not just the short wins. Consistency also builds trust, not just with others, but with yourself. When you consistently show up for your goals, you prove to yourself that you are reliable, that you can be counted on. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, your confidence grows. You begin to trust your own discipline, and that self-trust becomes a source of strength. Others also notice consistency. Employers, mentors, partners, and friends respect those who are reliable, who can be counted on to deliver, not once in a while, but repeatedly. Consistency communicates character. It tells the world that you are serious, that you are dependable, and that you are in it for the long haul. Patience adds another dimension by teaching you humility. It reminds you that you cannot control everything, that results are not always immediate, and that some things require time to mature. Patience helps you manage frustration, especially when life seems slow or when progress feels invisible. Many young people abandon their goals because they confuse slow growth with no growth. But success often requires seasons of preparation before visible results. Just like a tree spends years growing its roots before producing fruit, you may spend years building your foundation before your achievements become visible. Patience allows you to endure that season without losing hope. Consistency and patience together also protect you from burnout. When you expect instant results, you push yourself too hard, become frustrated, and eventually give up. But when you understand that success is a marathon, not a sprint, you pace yourself. Consistency is about doing something sustainable, something you can maintain for years. Patience ensures you don't get discouraged when things take longer than expected. Together, they create balance. They help you avoid the extremes of either working obsessively and burning out, or doing nothing and expecting everything. Instead, you move steadily, day by day, building progress that lasts. Another powerful truth about consistency is that it builds mastery. You cannot become great at anything by doing it occasionally. Excellence is born from repetition. The greatest athletes, musicians, and leaders are not great because they performed once at a high level, but because they performed consistently at a high level over time. Every day they showed up, whether they felt like it or not, sharpening their skills until mastery became second nature. If you want to be excellent in any field, the secret is not talent alone. It is consistent practice, combined with the patience to allow that practice to transform you. Patience also teaches gratitude along the journey. When you are patient, you stop rushing to the finish line and begin appreciating the process. You learn to value small wins, to celebrate progress, and to enjoy growth along the way. This makes the journey sustainable because you are not constantly frustrated by how far you still have to go. Instead, you are fueled by how far you have already come. Gratitude gives you the strength to continue, and patience ensures you do not miss the lessons hidden in the process. For young people especially, consistency and patience are a kind of superpower. While others get distracted by trends, by quick fixes, or by the temptation to quit when things get tough, you can stay focused on your vision. You can train yourself to keep planting seeds, to keep watering them, and to wait for the right time. This doesn't mean you sit back and do nothing. It means you continue working steadily without being discouraged by delays. The combination of daily effort and long-term perspective sets you apart from those who give up too soon. Ultimately, success is not built on one giant leap, but on many small steps taken consistently over time. It is about showing up every day, being patient when results don't come immediately, and trusting that the process will eventually lead you where you want to go. Consistency and patience are not glamorous. They don't always get applause or recognition. But they are the quiet forces that turn dreams into reality. They are the difference between wishing and achieving, between temporary progress and lasting success. So remember, the path to greatness is not rushed. It is walked steadily, step by step, day by day. Be consistent in your actions, no matter how small they may seem. Be patient with yourself, with the process, and with the timing of your results. If you combine those two qualities, there is nothing you cannot achieve. Consistency builds the foundation, and patience allows the structure to rise. Together, they ensure that your success is not only possible but inevitable. Every young person who wants to succeed in life must learn the importance of building a vision and taking bold action. Vision is what gives direction, purpose, and meaning to your journey. Without it, you drift through life, reacting to circumstances instead of creating your own path. Action, on the other hand, is what transforms that vision from an idea into reality. A dream without action is nothing more than a wish. When you combine vision with bold action, you give yourself the power to shape your future rather than waiting for it to happen. A vision is more than just a vague hope for the future. It is a clear picture of the life you want to create, the person you want to become, and the impact you want to have. Vision pulls you forward when obstacles arise because it reminds you why you started in the first place. Without a vision, it's easy to lose motivation, to get caught up in distractions, and to settle for less than you are capable of. But when you have a powerful vision, even the hardest struggles feel meaningful because they are steps towards something greater. Creating a vision requires honesty with yourself. You must ask questions like, what do I really want out of life? What excites me? What kind of person do I admire and want to become? What difference do I want to make in the world? Too often, young people borrow other people's dreams, dreams from parents, teachers, or society, and pursue them without considering whether those dreams truly align with their heart. A genuine vision comes from within. It reflects your passions, your values, and your deepest desires. It is personal, and because of that, it has the power to sustain you through difficulties, but vision alone is not enough. Many people dream big, but never move beyond the dreaming stage. They spend years talking about what they will do someday, but someday never arrives. This is where bold action comes in. Action turns vision into reality. It doesn't matter how small the steps are at first. What matters is that you move. Bold action means refusing to wait until conditions are perfect, because they never will be. It means stepping out even when you feel afraid or uncertain. Fear is normal, but bold people act in spite of fear. They understand that courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to move forward regardless of it. Taking bold action also requires persistence. The first step is important, but the second, third, and 100th steps are what create real progress. Bold action is not about doing one impressive thing. It is about continuing to act even when you face rejection, failure, or doubt. Every bold move you make builds confidence. It shows you that you are capable of more than you realize. Over time, this confidence grows, and you begin to see that no dream is too big if you are willing to take consistent action toward it. Another important truth is that bold action attracts opportunities. When you take action, doors begin to open that would have remained closed if you had stayed still. People notice those who are moving, those who are trying, those who are willing to risk failure in pursuit of something meaningful. Bold action creates momentum, and momentum draws resources, mentors, and allies to your cause. Many young people wait for the right opportunity before they act, but in reality, opportunities often appear after you begin moving. Action precedes opportunity. Vision also helps you stay focused on what truly matters. Without a vision, you may find yourself chasing distractions, temporary pleasures, trends, or approval from others. But when you know your vision, you can say no to things that do not align with it. You stop wasting energy on paths that do not serve your purpose. Instead, you channel your time, focus, and energy into actions that bring you closer to your vision. This clarity is powerful because it simplifies your decisions. You don't have to wonder what to do. You measure every choice against your vision, and if it doesn't align, you let it go. Bold action requires a willingness to fail, but as you've already learned, failure is a teacher. Each time you act boldly and fall short, you learn something that sharpens your approach. If you never take risks, you never give yourself the chance to grow. Playing it safe may keep you comfortable, but it will also keep you average. Boldness, even with its failures, separates you from the crowd. It shows that you are willing to bet on yourself, to trust your vision, and to pursue something meaningful even when others doubt you. Another aspect of bold action is leadership. When you dare to pursue your vision boldly, you inspire others to do the same. People are drawn to those who are clear about their goals and courageous enough to pursue them. You may not even realize it, but your actions can give permission to others to chase their own dreams. By living boldly, you create a ripple effect that goes beyond your own success. You become a source of hope, encouragement, and possibility for others. Building a vision and taking bold action also teaches you responsibility. When you have a vision, you cannot blame others for your lack of progress. You understand that your future is in your hands. You take ownership of your decisions, your habits, and your results. Bold action is a declaration that you are responsible for your life, not a victim of circumstances. No matter where you start, you can move forward if you choose to act. This sense of responsibility is empowering because it places the power back where it belongs, in your hands. For young people, the combination of vision and bold action is life-changing. Vision gives you a destination, and bold action gives you the vehicle to get there. Without vision, you wander aimlessly. Without action, you remain stuck in place. Together, they create unstoppable momentum. You may not achieve everything overnight, but over time, your consistent bold actions guided by a clear vision will shape the life you want. The most important thing to remember is that your vision is only as strong as your willingness to act on it. Dreams without action are fantasies. Goals without steps are just words on paper. But when you take bold action, even imperfectly, you set in motion a chain of events that can transform your life. Don't wait for confidence, because confidence comes from action. Don't wait for clarity, because clarity comes from doing. Don't wait for the perfect moment, because the perfect moment is now. So build a vision that excites you, one that reflects your true values and passions. Then commit to taking bold action every day, no matter how small. Act with courage, act with persistence, and act with faith that each step is carrying you closer to your dream. If you do this, you will not only succeed in life, you will live a life that inspires others and leaves a lasting legacy.